Professional wrestling is the one true sport. Other sports have their share of intense, dramatic moments, but nothing can compare with professional wrestling. Welcome to Wrestling History X, where three friends come together to talk about the stories behind the matches. I'm Matt.
I'm reporting remotely from Alcatraz.
Blotty, blotty, blotty. I'm here for a SuperBrawl potty.
Welcome to episode 243, SuperBrawl VII.
The big one will hit San Fran when the big boys play.
Get ready for the Rumble. For the Rumble?
We know WCW's not good with these.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's it's obviously an earthquake reference. Not John Tenta, but the natural disaster.
Gotcha.
A tectonic plate shift.
We're in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How do the streets get so wavy?
I didn't think about that. Okay.
I think I just put it together as we did it.
Get ready for the Rumble.
Yeah. I was like, oh, wait, all right.
So this is the 7th Super Brawl produced by WCW. It would take place on February 23rd, 1997, from the Cow Palace in San Francisco, California, with an attendance of 13,324 people.
That's a whole lot of cowfolk.
Absolutely, and hopefully it is a rumble and not a natural disaster.
I'm trying to figure out, why is it called the Cow Palace, though?
I don't know that.
It's
honestly,
San Francisco. That just seems like a weird...
I know the Cow Palace is a building that is famous for wrestling, kind of like the Sportatorium, but
Draw people in by the herds.
I guess so. But in California, I feel like, I don't know, I never think of California as a wrestling state, but I always thought that for some reason the Cow Palace was in like Southern California, like in the LA area. I didn't realize it was in San Francisco. I feel like I should have known that.
Yeah, I figured you know before I would.
I mean, yeah. I knew it was in California.
The idea for the arena was inspired by the popularity of the livestock pavilion at the 1915 Panama Pacific International Exposition.
Good Lord.
Basically, a local newspaper asked as early as 1935, why, when people are starving, should money be spent on a palace for cows? Then a headline writer turned the phrase around, thus, the Cow Palace.
Huh.
It's a memorable name.
Yeah.
And it's still up. I still believe it's still around.
That's what I was going to ask. Is it still a thing, or has it been replaced by the,
most of the big
Bell?
shows probably go to the new Warriors arena, but I know that as 2019-ish, I know New Japan's ran there. Actually, the
2018 G1...
No, New Japan ran there earlier this year. It was the show that... Mercedes and Willow fought for the strong belt. That was the Cow Palace.
Okay, yeah, one of the first New Japan shows I watched.
It was the Cody,
the weekend it happened.
Cody, Coda, and Kenny.
Yeah,
was a triple threat at the Cow Palace before COVID.
It's also this was pre AEW and all that, and I remember that's where I fell in love with Jay White being a shit heel.
Yeah, it was like the first time that Coda and Kenny had been opponents in a match in like years.
Yeah, and of course it was a three-way.
But it was the closest thing that Kenny and Coda were willing to do without it being a singles match.
Yeah. And I remember people being like, why the fuck is Cody here? But
to take a pin.
Yeah. Because he was fine with it. He was just doing the thing that we all saw him do for the last 5 years. Getting that name up. But
we are in San Francisco, California.
Yeah, we are.
So Shane, did you do what you do?
I think I did what I do. I tried to do what I do anyways. Yes, here we are. We're in San Francisco at the Cow Palace. So I did what I typically do, and I hopped on the old internet and said, what the hell do people eat in California, in San Francisco? What started there? What's popular there? And I came across mission-style burritos. That was the main thing that kept popping up for me. Mission-style burritos, I guess, started in the Mission District in San Francisco, and they were big-ass burritos. and they caught on. The founder of Chipotle, I guess, was a fan of the mission-style burrito and decided that he wanted to spread the word of mission, or spread the mission, whatever the hell you want to call it, make it his mission to let everybody know about these burritos. And the craze just continued to grow and grow and grow, and you've got Chipotle's, you got Qdoba, you got, I don't know if there's still Freebirds, that used to be an Oklahoma one, but all those, let me build you this big-ass burrito, wrap it in foil for you, stuff it with as much stuff as we can, to the point that you don't think you're going to be able to eat it, but then after you're done eating it, you can't believe you ate the whole thing, but you have no regrets because...
It was good.
Yeah, you've got, big fat food coma kicking in. But yeah, I went to Qdoba. I contemplated going to Chipotle, and then I pulled up their menu, and they didn't have as many options on their DoorDash menu for me to choose from, and I didn't want my first Chipotle experience, because I've never been to Chipotle, to be a delivery. I figured it should be me going there and actually saying, give me this, give me this, give me this.
You wanted the legit experience.
Yes, I want to see what they have. I hate when people order stuff but they don't know what you have, and then they want you to either describe your entire menu to them, or they want to change everything about it because they don't know the way that you do it. So yeah, I didn't want to be one of those people, so I went with Qdoba because I know Qdoba, and I know they have all this extra stuff that I can add on there without having to be charged even more for it. We went with I should have got carnitas. I don't know why didn't get carnitas. I went for chicken, cilantro lime rice, black beans, some guac, a roasted corn salsa, sour cream, cheese, and I think there's something else in there too. I can't remember. But yeah, this is the mission style burritos were just loaded with as much shit as you can fit into it, as opposed to the old style burritos where it was just, here's a little meat, here's a little lettuce and tomato, or, cheese and sauce, and that's it. It was basically fitting an entire meal into a tortilla. That was their mission, to feed you in one foil wrapped bomb.
Yeah, not to make this longer, but are Mission tortillas from San Francisco?
I'm going to guess they probably are, or they just acquired the name of, here, build your own big-ass burritos at home. But yeah, I have yet to fully unwrap mine, so we'll crinkle the foil in front of the microphone. Crinkle, crinkle. Let's go for this good side here with some guac. All right. 3, 2, 1, go. That's a big ass bite.
You can't go wrong with any of those fast casual burrito spots. I probably only go to one every 2 years, but it always works out great.
It's been a while for me. I used to go for just the burrito bowl.
Yeah, the burrito bowl is nice when you're busy, but you want something hearty.
My friend, his hack was always get the burrito bowl because he said that you typically got more food, but then just get a side of chips and you get 2 meals out of it.
True.
I always thought that was a respectful move.
Well, something that would happen right around the same time as SuperBrawl VII, Marcy Playground would release their debut album a couple of days later.
I smell sex and candy, hair.
Did you say in? Is it in or and?
And.
Oh yeah, because in candy is very weird. That song was huge when I was in 5th grade, but I guess it took a while for that song to catch on because this is well before I was in 5th grade.
I mean, the album released in February, but the single didn't hit airwaves until September. Yeah, but that song did end up lasting on the Modern Rocks chart for 15 weeks at number 1.
It was a huge song, had a very alluring video. I never listened to the album. Did you guys have it?
No.
I have one friend.
I literally think this is the only song I've ever heard of Marcy Playground.
Yes.
I have one weird friend from high school who is a bit of a drug addict, and he'd always say, he's like, yeah, that song's overplayed, but the whole album's pretty good. It's all about heroin, and I think that guy went on to get pretty into pills, so, it makes sense. I still never listened to it. I was like, Mark, I believe you.
At first I thought you were calling him a Mark.
No, that was his name. He was a mark for drugs.
Marky's Playground.
Yeah, that's the only single that I can't think of even another one that tried. I mean, they've obviously had to have released other singles, but this is the only one that got any
They
traction.
had a song on the Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back movie soundtrack.
Oh, really? I think I may have had a copy of that, but I don't remember anything about it except for like Afro Man.
Let's see.
But everything I've seen about them is like they didn't really have like one like style.
I don't even know what style you would call that song even.
Heroin rock?
I mean, yeah, why not? When I hear that song, I don't even hear guitar, even though I know that there's guitar in there. I just, kind of hear it as like a lazy pop song.
I mean, looking at just a list of songs, you've got Sex and Candy, St. Joe on the School Bus, Poppies. So, it's already got some drug references a couple times here. One more, Suicide, Opium.
There's a song called Poppy and a song called Opium?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Why not?
I mean, there's a
Punk
run.
rock
My buddy wasn't lying about the theme.
I guess that St. Joe on the School Bus hit like number 8.
Well, if I ever decide to listen to the record, I'll report back.
Yeah, maybe I'll do a Monday morning with Marcy's playlist or something like that. Is this St. Joe?
This is St. Joe on the School Bus. We'll play a little bit while we're talking over it.
Huh.
I mean, it feels
It sounds
like a mid-90s alternative guitar rock song.
I was approaching 20. The show was actually on the half birthday before my 20th birthday, so
it
this
sounded
like very much like everything else that was being played on the rock stations on the edge.
It sounds like the Toadies covering Nirvana. But like, but probably less interesting than either of the bands.
Grunge, but with a little more of an emo twist to it.
Yeah, just like, can you make it more radio friendly? And they're like, yes, we'll do whatever you want.
Yes. Can you take the word out about like suicide and switch it with sex, and then take out the part about heroin and maybe call it candy or something?
Yeah, sure.
Well, that's Marcy Playground for you.
Yeah, and that's
A whole lot going on in February.
Yeah, that's a whole lot more than a lot of people know about Marcy's Playground.
Yeah. In a few weeks, you'll hear us say, Marcy's Playground, Sex and Candy hit number 3 on the alternative charts.
Hopefully it isn't the trend where we talk about how the lead singer from Marcy's Playground just passed away or something.
Oh, yeah.
Still alive as far as I know.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, here, we got wood floors.
There you go.
Yeah, knock on wood. We're not going to jinx you, whatever your name is.
Nobody knows.
Marcy.
Just his mother and his wife.
Well, let's see if this show smells like Sex and Candy.
Jesus, gross.
We get a shot of Alcatraz before going inside to see Roddy Piper exiting a cell.
And this is where I grabbed my remote and went, is this really how it starts? Did it, skip? Did I fall asleep? Because that just didn't seem like a start to a show.
But it's a pretty cool one.
Yeah.
A guard goes to lead the way, only for Roddy to yell, "I know my way," before going running into the courtyard screaming, "I didn't spend 7 days in hell for nothing." Piper continues by calling Hogan an endangered species, followed by riding on the front of a boat, laughing like a maniac, yelling that he's coming and he's bringing Alcatraz with him, while also chuckling that he sees sharks in the water.
I mean, it's very goofy and a little more reminiscent of some of the earlier 90s WCW stuff, but it's Roddy Piper, so it always works.
Yep.
Tony Schiavone welcomes us to the show, joined by Dusty Rhodes and Bobby, the Brain Heenan. And Dusty says Roddy lived through pains, blues, and agony, while the Brain thinks Hollywood should lock his doors, because Piper is coming for him. Tony then shows us clips of Syxx stealing title belts, such as when he stole Eddie's U.S. Championship, before also stealing the Cruiserweight belt as well. So Schiavone calls him a kleptomaniac. And we go to our first match. Syxx versus Dean Malenko for the WCW Cruiserweight Championship. Last time we saw the Cruiserweight belt, it was actually on Ultimo Dragon at Wrestling World.
Yeah.
Since then, Dean had defeated Dragon on Clash 34 about a month prior. And then, since then, Syxx had stolen the belt.
So he walks out with the belt, just being the little shit that he is.
While commentators also mentioned that Dean's father had trained Syxx to add another layer to this feud. And Malenko goes right after the kid with turnbuckle smashes and a spinning heel kick. Goes for the cover, only to pull him up to continue the punishment with a brainbuster for another cover, again pulling Syxx up.
He's pissed.
The kid is able to get a boot up on a charging Dean, but then charges into a power slam from Malenko for a 2 count. Syxx reverses a whip and charges into a corner with a splash, but Dean moves, leaving the kid caught upside down on the ropes. So Malenko nails a dropkick and goes for the Texas Cloverleaf, only for Syxx to escape by raking the eyes. Dean hits a crossbody that sends them both over the ropes to the floor, before Malenko goes to grab the championship, allowing the kid to regroup and attempt a spin kick, only for Dean to duck and connect with a clothesline.
And the crowd is behind the face, just so you guys know. They're not. They might be wearing NWO shirts, but they're pro Dean in this situation.
Yeah, their souls have not been sold out yet.
They return to the ring where Malenko misses a clothesline, so Syxx tries for a spin kick that Dean catches, but the kid then hits an enziguri to take down his opponent. Malenko is then knocked down into a corner with a combo of kicks, followed by a Bronco Buster and a flash leg drop for a near fall.
And Syxx has been selling his knee after he took that drop kick to it and doing a good and consistent job of it. Got to give him flowers because not everybody's consistent when it comes to selling.
Syxx locks on a sleeper multiple times, with Dean escaping finally with a back suplex to get a 2 count. But the kid's back to his feet first to stay on the attack, with kicks, elbows, and chops, before delivering a second rope elbow drop to the neck, straddled across the apron. And Syxx continues the vertical suplex before heading up top for a leg drop that gets a near fall. The kid puts another sleeper on, with Malenko escaping by ramming Syxx into the turnbuckles, who then charges out with a clothesline, only for Dean to duck and counter it into a sleeper hold of his own.
The crowd has a wonderful little chant while Syxx is on top here, where they say 1, 2, 3, a sucks, which is kind of fun, like you're counting up to it.
The kid shoves Malenko off into the ropes, where he bounces right back for the 2 to knock noggins for a double KO. Syxx climbs to the top turnbuckle, only for Dean to trip him up, causing the kid to crotch himself, followed by Malenko delivering a super backplex, which Syxx sort of reverses in midair to knock both men down. And the kid grabs the Cruiserweight title that's sitting in a corner, when Eddie Guerrero would come running down to have a tug of war with Syxx. But Eddie finally lets go, and the momentum causes Dean to get clocked right in the face with the belt, allowing the kid to make the cover for the pin and the win. And new.
Must say, amazing timing on the belt spot. That was one of the better looking ones that I've seen, because we've all seen that spot.
Yeah.
A bunch of times.
We get Mean Gene Okerlund in the back to plug the hotline, and he says he spotted a WCW superstar having breakfast with the NWO.
Uh-oh.
Call now to find out who.
Any guesses?
You think it's Meng? Hacksaw.
That'd be great. Was Hacksaw ever in the NWO? I'm trying to remember. If he wasn't, it was a missed opportunity.
Not yet.
I can't think of anybody that joins here in the near future. So,
but they're just trying to get some pennies out of you.
That's right.
Oh, Lord willing, it's not Diamond Dallas Page.
speaking of him, Mean Gene welcomes him in.
Hey.
With neither man knowing who his opponent is, but they do know it will be an NWO member. And DDP starts to go through the list to narrow down the opponents, before Gene suggests it might be Buff Bagwell, followed by actually getting it confirmed through an update in his earpiece.
We all could have, I guessed Bagwell before they even got there. It's just like, yeah, he's not having a match with Scott Hall tonight.
It's not
I'm
one
positive.
of the big three.
Paige then says, Buff, when you think you've got my number, Diamond Cutter. Bang!
It's DDP versus Vincent in a boxing match.
Yes. Get a Piper rundown.
Oh, there you go.
So we go to our second match. Konnan, Parka, and Villano 4 versus Juventud Guerrera, Super Calo, and Ciclope. And we haven't seen Calo since Fall Brawl 96, episode 220. And the rest since World War III 96, episode 229. And Mike today, of course, joins us for the Lucha Fun, as Villano and Ciclope started off with a few hip tosses. Konnan comes in with right hands and a rolling lariat to Juvi, but Guerrera fires back with a head scissors takedown and a springboard dropkick, followed by going for a body scissors, only for Konnan to counter into a German suplex. Calo runs in, only to get clotheslined down, followed by Ciclope jumping in to get powerbombed as well by Konnan.
Wild-ass lucha shit.
Now Parka tags in, only to have Super Calo charge at him with a splash that misses, leaving Calo hung up on the ropes. So Parka nails a running spin kick before trying for a shoulder block, only for Super Calo to move in time, causing Parka to hit shoulder first on the post.
Posted. I wanted to say that the crowd seems way more receptive of this lucha match than the recent WWF shows that have attempted the same thing. My first thought was, well, we are in California, but at the same time, WCW has had more lucha and high-flying stuff on the show recently.
I mean, all these guys have probably been on a Nitro in the last month.
Yeah, absolutely.
So everyone knows, at least
they know who Parka
they
is,
are.
and they know who Juventud is.
WWF at the time just
and of course Konnan
brings in these random lucha people for the Royal Rumble that
just to
have
fill it
never
out,
seen or heard of, and then
they have no interest in using them regularly.
Yes,
just they're doing it. They're doing it right, as far as trying to get people to give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
Calo with the head scissors takedown, only to then charge into a boot, allowing Parka to hit a clothesline and attempt a suplex, which is blocked, leading to Super Calo tossing Parka out to the floor. Now Super Calo would follow out with a drop kick and a swanton bomb over the ropes onto Parka, before missing a springboard dive. Parka grabs a chair and sits Calo on it, for Parka to run back into the ring, only to fly out with a tope suicida onto Super Calo. And they return to the ring for both men to make tags, bringing in Ciclope to deliver a drop kick to Villano that sends them out to the floor. And Ciclope looks to follow out, but he completely misses a springboard moonsault, landing hard on the concrete.
Yeah, it's a tough look.
Allowing Villano to roll him back in and deliver a snap suplex for a 2 count, as we see Harlem Heat in the back answering questions on WCWWrestling.com.
Tune in now.
Call in now?
Call in now or something. You get audio.
Log in.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Log in.
Simulcast.
They have audio for the day.
Ciclope is tossed back out, so Juvi jumps in to dropkick number 4 and attempt a top rope 450 splash, but he completely misses as well. Now Guerrero and Villano are fighting over a waistlock, when number 4 goes to suplex Juvi, only for him to flip out and hit a spinning kick. Guerrero then whips number 4 to his own corner, charging in only for Villano to move out of the way and tag in Parka, who flies in with a corkscrew moonsault for a near fall. Parka sets Juvi on the top turnbuckle for a superplex, only for Guerrero to shove him off onto the ropes to crotch himself, followed by a springboard hurricanrana for a 2 count as Konnan breaks it up.
Kind of miss the old K-Dog, but he's here just looks like a fully realized character, ass cooking Cholo. So, great look.
K-Dog then lifts Juvi up on his shoulders, with Villano flying in off the top for a doomsday device, followed by a double-team powerbomb and some kind of submission on Guerrero. Now Calo and Ciclope run in to break up the submission, but they then place Villano and Konnan in the exact same submission, while they still have it on Juvi, before Parka runs in and makes a cover on Guerrero for a near fall.
This match is very,
Busy.
modern. Well, it feels like a modern AEW 6-man tag to me, in a way. I mean, it's obviously more on the lucha side of things, but as far as visually. Everybody's doing a lot of stuff, and it all like comes together in this moment that involves everybody.
Konnan throws Guerrera over the ropes to the floor, but Ciclope and Super Calo go to whip K-Dog and Villano into each other, only for it to be reversed, causing their opponents to knock noggins. Then number 4 and Konnan place Calo and Ciclope in another submission, when the Parka and Juvi would meet in the middle of the ring, only for Guerrero to be powerbombed down again, followed by a surfboard.
Is this the where they make a big star in the middle of the ring? Yeah, they like everybody's in a submission, and somebody gets powerbombed directly in the middle of the star. It is a sight for a camera an eagle eye camera for sure.
Everyone escapes the submission attempts and drop kicks Villano, K-Dog, and Parka out to the floor, following out with triple tope suicidas. Now they drag Konnan back in for a triple team, but La Parka and number 4 trip up Ciclope and Super Calo, leaving Juvi alone in the ring to cradle up K-Dog for a 2 count. Konnan then nails a sit-out powerbomb for the pin, and the win.
As it looks like Juventud kicked out.
Yeah, his shoulder was definitely up, and the announcers even say so.
Uh-oh. Yeah. It's like, was Juventud just that worried about taking the pin? Or was there just so much stuff going on that he couldn't remember that the finish was jackknife sit-out powerbomb?
Right.
Which is about as simple as I could probably... It's like, yeah, that's the kind of move that should pin somebody. But hey, there was a bunch of fun stuff in here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is a second pay-per-view match, if I've ever seen one. Another quick thought I had about... Just think about if ECW was on the West Coast instead of the East Coast, how many Lucha Bros they would have in there. It would have been a lot more. Because, yeah, these guys are some of, like, the top Lucha stars of the time. But there's plenty of other people like just south of the border that would have came up for ECW and done some wild ass shit.
Yep.
So we go to our third match. Rey Mysterio Jr. versus Prince Iaukea for the WCW World Television Championship. So the story behind this match was that Rey was feuding with Lord Steven Regal over the TV title. In the previous Monday, Mysterio had distracted Regal, allowing the Prince to roll him up for the pin to become champion. With Rey still wanting the belt, he would challenge Iaukea here.
So Iaukea is on the come up. Is he the Barry Horowitz of WCW, or are they trying, or is he like kind of or are they doing an attempted Rocky Maivia thing?
There you go.
Yeah, that's what I figured, but I wasn't sure if he was around just eating pins for a long time.
His character.
I mean, it's basically
weird.
Think the 1, 2, 3 kid.
Yeah.
Him beating Regal is kind of him beating Scott Hall. Unfortunately, Prince Iaukea never becomes as good as Syxx.
No.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Syxx may have had the best match we've watched on the beginning of the show.
He eventually takes on the gimmick of another former Prince. He eventually becomes the artist formerly known as Prince Iaukea, otherwise known as Taft Cappy.
Taft Cappy?
Taft Cappy, the artist formerly known as Prince Iaukea. That's how they went to spelling out the words Triple H. They just put Taft Cappy on the screen.
We all know that Prince just did that to get out of a record label dispute. Mm-hmm. He would have never changed his name if he wasn't for that.
Who knows? Maybe he was just trying to get out of WCW.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, because the WWF was really barking up his tree.
So the last time we saw this championship defended was at SuperBrawl VI.
Hey, happy
episode
anniversary.
189 between Johnny B. Bad and DDP.
I'm sure it was good. They always had good matches.
Probably started the show off too.
I'm sure it did.
Probably. Mike Tenay's back at the announce table for this one as the two men shake hands before they trade holds and reversals, evading the other's attack until the Prince lands a thrust kick for a 2 count. And the fight spills out to the floor with Iaukea hitting a top rope crossbody onto Mysterio, followed by a pair of suplexes back inside for near falls. The Prince continues with a gorilla press slam into a backbreaker before attempting another crossbody, only for Rey to catch him with a drop kick on his way down. Now Mysterio goes for a body scissors, only for Iaukea to look to counter into a powerbomb. But Rey ends up reversing it into a hurricanrana that sends them both out to the floor. Now Mysterio runs back in, only to leap out with a swanton bomb out onto the Prince, flat on the concrete. But they make their way back in for Rey to nail some chops, turnbuckle smashes, and a double springboard moonsault for a 2 count. Iaukea then catches Mysterio running the ropes and looks to hotshot him on the turnbuckle. But Rey wiggles free and shoves the Prince into them instead, followed by a spinning heel kick. Mysterio continues with a springboard split-legged moonsault for a near fall. Goes for another springboard move, but Iaukea hits him from behind, allowing him to deliver a super Samoan drop. And now Lord Steven Regal makes his way down to the ring as our competitors struggle to make it to their feet. And the Prince tosses Rey to the ropes, going for a drop kick, only for Mysterio to avoid and come off the top rope with a hurricanrana that wasn't very good.
Slop Rana, if you will.
Rey then goes to the apron for a springboard something, but Regal pulls him off, causing him to hit headfirst on the hardest part of the ring.
Oh.
Yeah.
Lord Steven then rolls Mysterio back in, allowing Iaukea to make the cover for the pin and the win. Post-match, the Prince sees Regal and realizes what happened. So Iaukea tries giving the belt to Rey, but he won't accept it.
It's a weird way to try to get Prince Iaukea over.
Yeah.
It just kind of...
As the third man in another two's feud.
Yeah. But for him to, like, give the belt back, it's like he won and it was a mistake. So you can give him a rematch, but don't just, like, hand the belt over. It was very bizarre.
Yeah. It's not like Rey was a champion coming in.
Yeah. I was like, wait, what is he doing? My biggest complaint with this mostly fine match is that early in the match, Prince Iaukea hits the mat from a shoulder block from Rey Mysterio, and he's too big to do that, especially early in the match. But outside of that, it's fine.
Mean Gene's in the back, plugging the hotline again, where he welcomes in the 473-pound
Much better.
giant, asking him about the NWO's mind games.
Just wait 3 hours. He'll have to make a movement.
The big man says he rode and roomed with them, so he knows what they're about. They want him rattled and crazy, but that's not happening. He's composed, because he's the conductor, while Hall and Nash are playing the instruments. The giant then guarantees victory when Okerlund reminds him that his partner, Lex Luger, can't wrestle, so he'll be going it alone.
My favorite part of this is that he's ridden the road with them, and he knows how bad they drive, which I thought was a very funny insult.
Fee, fi, fo, fum. I was waiting for some sort of a dumbass non-rhyme.
And I know how bad they drive. It's like, if you wanted to be scathing, you just talk about them like drinking and driving, which was definitely happening.
Yeah, Kevin never wears a seatbelt.
So we go to our fourth match. Buff Bagwell versus Diamond Dallas Page.
DDP gets the pyro, and he is over.
Yep.
DDP slaps Buff to start before taking control with holds and working the neck with elbows and a swinging neckbreaker that sends Bagwell out to the floor to regroup.
Just so you guys know, Kimberly is also still over with some fans, as some guy just holds up a giant Kimberly poster in the crowd. It's like, where did you even get that?
Was she there?
No, that's why it's
Okay,
funny. It's like,
that's
she's
what I'm
not.
like,
No, she's
Once
not.
you said that, I had to think back. I'm like,
Yeah, no,
did I even see her? Because I don't remember her.
She's not particularly involved at the moment, but they remember her. How could you forget her?
Bring back the doll.
I remember her.
Yeah.
And it's been 27 years. Page follows out, keep up the attack, dragging Buff back to the apron, who yanks DDP throat first, down on the top rope. Bagwell works over Page with boots to the gut, chokes, and a second rope tornado DDT for a 2 count. But Buff starts arguing with the ref, which allows DDP to roll up Bagwell several times for near falls. Buff then nails a clothesline that turns Page inside out. But he goes back to arguing with the ref once again. But Scott Dickinson isn't having it, so he shoves Bagwell down and gets in his face.
Damn right.
This allows DDP to recover once again, to hit a spinning clothesline, an atomic drop, and a sit-out powerbomb for a 2 count. Buff avoids a charge into a corner, going for a pin with leverage that only gets 2, before some mounted punches. But Paige hotshots Bagwell on the turnbuckle and goes for the diamond cutter, only for Bagwell to reverse it into a backside pin for a near fall. Buff delivers a bridging fisherman's suplex, but he gets up from the pin attempt to tell the ref that he wants him to be counted out, that he wants a 10 count.
Okay.
Cool.
Bagwell poses for the crowd, allowing DDP to make it to his feet, when Buff goes for a reverse neckbreaker, only for Paige to counter it into the diamond cutter. But the NWO come running down, sending DDP running through the crowd to escape, with the ref calling for the DQ win for Paige. It's the difference between Nick Patrick being the ref and Scott Dickinson being the ref. Paige runs away because the NWO comes down. He's like, nah, Paige won this one.
Yeah, all right. Marcus Bagwell acts way too, for a big guy. I mean, is basically a comedy character where he looks huge, but he acts like a pussy. Mm-hmm. But it's funny, but he's in the NWO. So it's just like there's too many opposing things going on here. It's just a thought I had. He's like begging off. He's just so whiny for a, the NWO guys were like whiny in a confident way. Where this guy just seems like a whiny chicken shit.
Yeah, that's just because he's a fresh heel.
He is a fresh heel.
Yeah, he's got to...
Hasn't figured it out yet.
Do what he can to get people to, boo him or whatnot.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm hoping he gets a little better, but I'm trying to remember... I don't think he really does.
He's following the traditional entry level heel rules, but he's in the NWO, so they need to be tweaked a little bit. Yeah. I think.
Tony then shows us a fan who won a Sony PlayStation giveaway.
This guy was annoying as fuck.
Keith Phillips from Ogden, Utah.
Woo!
Lucky contestant.
Yeah.
Who
continued
to howl and celebrate.
Yeah. Ow!
I mean, yeah.
Woo!
Just wait, yeah. He must have saw the Gran Turismo commercial. I'd be excited too. But if they actually gave him a PlayStation, those were like $600 when they came out.
I mean...
But because he howled so much, Brain starts making fun of me.
I'm hoping that, not only did they give him a PlayStation, but they also gave him that front row ticket or whatever that he had. Because I guess that ticket may have cost more than the PlayStation.
No. Not in 97.
Well, that's true. It's WCW. It was probably a 2-for-1 or...
It's also 97. I feel like ticket prices just got way out of control after the year 2000. They're just higher and higher and higher.
So we go to our fifth match. Chris Jericho versus Eddie Guerrero for the WCW United States Heavyweight Championship.
How awesome would it have been if Jericho and Guerrero were a tag team and we could have had Guerrero?
I think they could have got a better name, but it probably would have been a good tag team.
Rarico. They never would have done that in WCW.
No, that's an AEW tag team name.
Well, no, or WWF, because you throw team in front of it, Team Guerrero.
Yeah, it's Team Guerrero in WWF.
Especially, post 2000.
So the two go to the mat early on, trading submission attempts, until Eddie nails a spinning back elbow and a back suplex for a 2 count. Jericho responds with a back suplex and an ab stretch before going to a test of strength.
Yeah, 2 strong men going at it.
That leads to a suplex from Chris, followed by the 2 men going through a sequence of pin attempts. Jericho continues with a vertical suplex for a near fall, followed by a spine buster and locking on the lion tamer in the middle of the ring. But Guerrero powers out, only to receive a clothesline from Chris, as the crowd starts to chant boring.
No way.
I know.
I'm throwing major side eye at this crowd.
Yeah.
It always blows my mind because it's usually the same 2 or 3 wrestlers that they get bored with, maybe 4 wrestlers, and it's wrestlers who actually wrestle instead of just get in there and shit all over the show.
Finger point, leg drop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leg slap.
Yeah. I love Dean Malenko, and I'm glad the crowd is on his side, but both of these guys are better than Syxx.
Mm-hmm.
Jericho works the back with a chin lock and a modified torture rack backbreaker for a 2 count, followed by Chris attempting a springboard crossbody, only for Eddie to move and fire up with a running clothesline, a power bomb, and a brainbuster.
Oof, crispy.
Guerrero heads up top, but Jericho moves, so Eddie's able to roll out of his high-flying attack, followed by the 2 men fighting over a waistlock, which Chris wins to toss Guerrero with a release German and a release belly-to-belly suplex for a near fall.
Damn. I do love the look of the Cow Palace. It's big and bright, and it's nice and full.
Jericho drops Eddie crotch first on the ropes before delivering a springboard dropkick that sends Guerrero out to the floor, then following out with a springboard plancha. After rolling Eddie back in, Chris heads up top, leaping in with a double axe handle, only for Guerrero to catch him with an atomic drop and a backslide pin attempt for a 2 count.
In front of a dead crowd.
Both men charge at each other with a spinning heel kick and a running forearm smash to leave them both laying. But Eddie's up first, only to run right into a power slam for a near fall.
The crowd is completely over it, but this is a very, this feels like something we would have watched on a Japanese show.
Yep.
Which means that I'm into it. What's their problem?
Right. Jericho goes for a slam, but Guerrero floats over and takes Chris over into a pin with a body scissors for a 2 count, only for Jericho to respond with a thrust kick and a La Magistral pin attempt for a near fall. Chris charges into a corner, but he's hit with a back elbow, allowing Eddie to try for a tornado DDT, only for Jericho to reverse it into a bridging Northern Light suplex for the pin. And no! Guerrero gets a boot on the ropes.
Sounds like the crowd's booing out of boredom. Disgusting. Disgusting people.
Chris goes for a powerbomb, but Eddie flips out and nails a sunset flip for the pin and the win.
Yep.
I was like, this match is baller.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, this would have done great in Japan. And the thing is this isn't even one of those, we talk about how in Japan a crowd gets excited about submission moves and guys crawling to the ropes and stuff, and that's not what's happening here. This is a junior, that even happens in junior matches, but this is intense technical fight.
Yeah.
And yeah, they know who these guys are. I don't know what the problem is.
So we go to our 6th match, the Faces of Fear of Meng and the Barbarian versus Public Enemy of Rocco Rock and Johnny Grunge versus Harlem Heat of Booker T and Stevie Ray with Sister Sherri in a triangle tag match. So we haven't seen Faces of Fear since Starrcade 96, episode 232. Grunge or Harlem Heat since World War III, 96, episode 229. Or Rocco since Bash at the Beach 96, episode 208. Who also now has a shaved head.
Looks good on him.
Did they specify why he shaved his head? I don't remember hearing
No.
it, but okay.
Not that I know of. But Tony does tell us that this was supposed to be a 4 corners match, with the Steiners included as a number 1 contenders match.
Which it is now not.
But the NWO had run them off the road, causing a car accident.
Oh yeah, they're bad drivers.
Yeah. But I'm curious.
It kind of makes them good drivers if they could drive somebody off the road. Right?
Why is it still not a number 1 contenders match?
Because they wanted the Steiners to have the match with the Outsiders. That's the logic that
Yep.
they were. Yeah,
That's the logic.
That's it.
So Barbie starts it off with turnbuckle smashes and a power slam of Rock for a 2 count. But then the Barbarian ends up backing up close enough so that Stevie Ray can tag himself in and nail a gorilla press slam on Rocco as well for a near fall. Johnny tags in and he's sent to the ropes where he gets a boot to the head from Booker and a bicycle kick from Stevie. Booker T continues the attack with a scissors kick for a 2 count before bringing Stevie Ray back in for some double teaming. And Stevie's working over Grunge while Rock seems to want to have words with Sherri. So Booker gets in between them on the floor. And Booker T comes back with a side slam of Johnny, but he misses an elbow drop. But he spin-a-roonies up to nail a leg lariat. And Booker T's whip is reversed, but he avoids Grunge's charge in, only to be taken down by a clothesline from Barbie on the apron, allowing Johnny to make a tag to Meng, who starts the club run of Booker T. The Barbarian returns to deliver an overhead belly-to-belly suplex for a 2 count, followed by a clothesline. And Meng tags in to hit a pile driver of Booker for a near fall, before the Faces of Fear both go flying for a double headbutt for a 2 count as everybody breaks it up.
I know, it's like they weren't there. That's the end.
Meng then back body drops Booker T right into Barbie, who catches him and drops him with a powerbomb, making the cover, only to be broken up by Stevie Ray. Barbarian then goes to whip Booker, which Johnny blind tags in as they are on the ropes, before hitting a big boot that sends Booker out to the floor, which brings in Stevie to hit a clothesline from behind, which brings in Meng to thrust kick Stevie Ray out to the floor, which brings in Rock flying off the top with a somersault senton, only to be caught by Barbie, but then Grunge flies in off the top with a crossbody, leaving Rocco on top of the Barbarian for the pin and the win.
Woo! We made it.
My assumption is here that the Steiners will come back and beat the shit out of Public Enemy and then have a match with the Outsiders. Good for Public Enemy. It's like, the Outsiders need new opponents, and Public Enemy is not quite worthy.
Mm-mm.
Do you think Kevin Nash and Scott Hall look at Public Enemy and go, yeah,
No.
that's who we'll sell for?
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Yeah, no. It's like, yeah, I think the best tag match they've had involved Meng and the Faces of Fear, and Faces of Fear. It's like, oh well, we can't just keep going back to the well because we know they're not going to put it on them, even though that would be cool.
Yeah, I mean,
but the Steiners are somebody that could beat them, and I could see WCW putting the belts on.
the Faces of Fear they had a good match with, and then I want to say the Nasties because it got fairly nasty between them in the ring.
Yeah.
But yeah. Woo.
Yep.
Speaking of woo, we go to our 7th match. Steve, Mongo, McMichael with Debra versus Jeff Jarrett.
In a grudge match.
And if Double J wins, he has to be accepted into the Four Horsemen by everybody. But Shivani wants to know if someone must leave the group, as Jarrett would technically make them 5.
I mean, it's a good question.
I mean, we all know Arn's not long for the wrestling world, so.
And we all know Mongo's not actually a wrestler.
That too.
Hey, he is showing improvement.
Oh yeah, he's.
It's not quite enough for considering that he's in the Four Horsemen, but it's not nothing.
He's got a briefcase and a valet.
Well, I mean, just even in the ring, like
he's got a little dog that he sometimes brings to the ring with him.
I know.
That's as close to a real wrestler as he's gonna get.
I'm just saying he's at least more comfortable, and it's not as disjointed.
So Double J uses hip tosses and arm drags early on before strutting and posing, allowing Mongo to recover to hit a power slam and chop blocks, sending Jarrett to the floor to regroup. And McMichael goes after him, but Debra stops him, allowing Double J to use the distraction to attack from behind, taking the fight back into the ring to lock on an ab stretch with leverage. But Debra whacks the hand of Jarrett with the briefcase. Now Mongo hip tosses Double J, missing a leg drop, only to then duck a clothesline and gorilla press slam Jarrett down to the mat, before clotheslining him out to the floor. And Debra comes over with a towel to wipe Double J's sweat. So McMichael comes out and grabs the towel to choke Jarrett before tossing him into the guardrail multiple times. Back in the ring, Mongo telegraphs a back body drop, so Double J face plants and chokes him on the ropes before locking on a sleeper, which McMichael escapes and applies a sleeper of his own, only for Jarrett to escape with a back suplex for a 2 count. And Debra looks at the camera and says, "I don't know which one to help."
She's married to one, and she at least is friends with Double J.
And I was like, no wonder you got divorced within the year. The two trade strikes before Mongo drops Double J with a couple of side slams for a near fall. But then Jarrett pokes the eyes, slamming McMichael down, followed by heading up top for a crossbody for a 2 count. With Mongo powering out of the pin, causing Double J to inadvertently poke the ref in the eye.
Is that what he did?
Hitting, poked him in the eye.
I saw him run into him. I just wasn't sure if he just was pushed off and just stuck his hand out. Yeah.
McMichael calls for the briefcase, only for Debra to not want to give it to him. But she instead tosses it into the air, where Jarrett catches it and whacks Mongo over the head for the pin and the win.
And what a hit. It looks and sounds so great.
Yep.
It's like they put a microphone in the thing.
It's like a real briefcase.
Mm-hmm.
Post-match, Debra winks at the camera, saying, "How did that happen?" While Double J celebrates becoming a horseman, before reminding everybody that Flair believed in him.
The question is, will we have 5 horsemen?
Oh, Debra.
So we go to our 8th match. The Taskmaster, Kevin Sullivan, with Jimmy Hart and Jacquelyn.
Who?
Versus Chris Benoit, with Woman, in a San Francisco death match.
My first thought is, could this be good? And my second thought was, I didn't know Jacquelyn was ever in the WCW.
I forgot she was.
In fact, Jacquelyn is a WWE Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm. Jackie!
So the two ladies end up getting strapped together, and everybody just starts brawling away, even with the ladies heading outside to fight themselves. Sullivan hits a back body drop, but Chris comes back with chops and a scoop slam before heading up top, only for the Taskmaster to meet him to press slam him down to the mat.
And I know that ECW was on local television, but there's a BWO show all the way in San Francisco. Was there channels in California getting ECW at this point?
Oh, definitely.
Probably.
Really?
By this point, yeah.
Okay.
They'd already had their real superstar explosion by then, where they were more mainstream.
Yeah, I know that they're doing stuff with it, but I was like, damn, someone really must have been a fan, because they got that shirt all the way over here. I can't imagine he flew from one coast to the other for this.
Sullivan continues the butterfly suplex as the ladies make their way into the ring where Woman is whipping Jackie until the Taskmaster gets between them. But this allows Woman to yank up on the strap into depths unknown.
That's his nutsack.
Now Jacquelyn's whipping Woman, so Benoit looks to intervene, only to be whipped himself, followed by the strap being untethered from both ladies, so that Sullivan can hang Chris over the top rope with it, with Jackie then crippling Benoit with a kick on the floor. And both ladies attack their opponent's man, followed by them both grabbing the strap to use as a double clothesline, before returning to whipping each other.
It's pretty funny that they worked together for a second to clothesline both of them, and I got a kick out of that.
I got a kick out of that, and then I just kept laughing at the screen of, why are they still holding this fucking strap? It's not attached to either one of them anymore.
So
They're
they
just
can
holding it.
So they can whip each other with it because a woman is a valet, not a wrestler.
The men fight their way out to the floor, into the crowd, and to the concourse, while the ladies continue to brawl inside the ring. Taskmaster runs Benoit into a wall, slams him on a truck, and throws a trash can. But Chris fires back with chops and returns the wall and trash can shots, before brawling their way back to ringside, while Jackie is choking Woman with the strap inside the ring. Sullivan places Benoit in a tree of woe in a corner, followed by a running knee strike and a double stomp. He goes for the cover, only for Woman to start whipping him with the strap. And the Taskmaster looks to stalk after her, allowing Chris to recover, deliver a pile driver, and roll out to the floor to grab a table. And Benoit sets it up inside the ring, setting Sullivan atop it before heading up top. And Jacquelyn tries to get to Chris to stop him, to no avail, as Woman pulls her back. So Jackie then knocks Woman down and just crawls on top of the Taskmaster to protect him.
Oh my god.
When Benoit flies off with a headbutt, knocking them all off of the table, Chris then rolls them over, making the cover for the pin and the win.
Yeah, the table doesn't break. He just
they
hits them, and they just like fall off of the table in a just wreck of a pile.
Yeah, poor Jackie. She bounces off of or out of the middle of the Chris Kevin sandwich, lands on the ring, and then Kevin falls just directly on top of her.
Post-match, everybody but Woman is motionless in the ring, with the ref calling for help. We see Arn Anderson looking on from the aisleway, shaking his head at the carnage.
So what the fuck is this?
Followed by Paul Orndorff, who we haven't seen since World War III 95, episode 173. Lee Marshall and Terry Taylor, who we haven't seen since SuperBrawl IV, episode 112.
Welcome back, Terrence.
All coming out to check on the competitors in the ring. They're all calling for help, with EMTs finally arriving to place all three of them on stretchers and out into ambulances.
You can't put them in the same ambulance.
Yeah. I do love that they're selling that bump because it did look nasty, but we've already seen like ECW, so it's just like, oh, yeah.
But this is, still in kind of like with NXT today, where when somebody gets brought up to the main roster, nobody knows anything about these people from anything that they've ever done before. So
so a table shot
let's change
matters
their
here.
name or have them do the exact same
Or
storyline that they've
more.
already done.
How soon before we get the Ciampa Gargano storyline? What do you think?
It's
2 years?
It's cooking. SummerSlam.
They're not even going to try and work DIY as a team. They'll just go straight to the...
It'll build up to WrestleMania with the DIY, and then, boom, switch immediately into the flip.
You're saying this year? Or no, I guess, through this year to next year.
Tony then sends us to an ad for Uncensored 1997.
Oh, good lord, it's already uncensored.
Uncensored. It's like a cunt hair better than Sold Out, probably.
It's like ECW, but worse.
Hugh Morris is locked in a cage, laughing and yelling about people tearing each other apart. He says there's no titles, belts, refs, or rules before telling someone to get him out of there. And just so you know, I looked ahead, and all of those things are in Uncensored.
Yeah, I have an issue when Hugh Morris is the star of your commercial for your upcoming pay-per-view.
I have an issue when your ad for your pay-per-view is there's no titles and no belts and no rules. Yuck. No titles, no belts. That's the purpose of pay-per-views.
No titles,
for
no
the
belts,
most
no
part.
rules. Oh my.
Yeah. It's like, well, then what am I watching for? I guess if I wasn't watching ECW, maybe it would be a little exciting, but I've seen that, and there's never any rules there.
Yeah, they at least have title. Well, yeah.
Well, they at least are reckless enough to make it interesting, but we'll see how reckless WCW gets next month.
I just like how they threw it both in there too. No titles, belts. None of either one. No titles, no belts.
Titles or belts.
So we go to our 9th match. The Outsiders of Scott Hall and Kevin Nash with Syxx versus the Giant for the WCW World Tag Team Championships.
In a handicap match.
So the story behind this match was that Lex Luger had decided to give the Giant a second chance, telling WCW to trust him again. Lex would save the Giant from an NWO attack before teaming with him for tag title opportunities. But the NWO would break Luger's arm. Eric Bischoff said he couldn't wrestle until the doctors cleared him, which they finally did, but Eric barred him anyways, making this a handicap match.
Weasel.
The champs came out first, guys. Foreshadowing.
Also, I was confused because, like, from what I remember, Syxx was holding, like, Scott Hall's belt. So I was like, is Scott Hall hurt and Syxx is going to tag with Nash? I was very confused, but that's not what happened.
He's just that lazy.
Yeah.
He's a klepto.
Yeah.
He picks up any belt he finds.
I mean, that's funny. It's consistency.
Yeah, it's a throwback to the start.
Mm-hmm.
Rock, paper, scissors decides that Hall will start it off with the big man, throwing strikes, only for the Giant to return the favor, slamming Scott. Nash tags in, and our large competitors trade clotheslines before Hall runs in, only to be clotheslined down as well, followed by a drop kick to Kevin to send him out to the floor. And the Giant rams Nash into a ring post back first, before returning to the ring to drop an elbow for a 2 count, which is broken up by a boot from Scott. The ref is getting Hall out of the ring when Syxx would fly in off the top with a cruiserweight belt shot to the head, allowing Kevin to nail a big boot, followed by a top rope bulldog from Scott, with Nash making the cover for the pin. And no, the Giant kicks out.
And the crowd is going wild for Luger.
The Outsiders keep up the attack with elbows, knees, and chokes from Kevin, while Hall punishes him with clotheslines and leg drops from the apron. Multiple running straddles from Nash, a spinning heel kick from Syxx on the floor to the head, before Scott tags in to go for mounted punches, only to be shoved off several times. The Giant then hits a pair of big boots and clotheslines to the Outsiders, when Syxx would try to leap off the top rope again, only to be caught by the big man, so the Kid tosses his belt to Hall. The Giant then tosses Syxx onto Kevin, when Scott would hit the big man from behind with the title, allowing Nash to deliver a jackknife powerbomb.
Ooh, he hits it, and the crowd definitely pops.
Yeah.
Who expected that?
But Kevin hurts his back in the process.
Of course he did.
So he's unable to make a cover. All of a sudden, Lex Luger starts making his way to the ring, with Bischoff running out as well to remind him that he's barred. But Lex just throws Eric into the guardrail. And Luger jumps on the apron, reaches out his hand to get the hot tag.
A real one, guys. A real hot tag.
Running forearm shots to the Outsiders. Clothesline to Syxx to knock him out of the ring before getting Nash up in the torture rack for the submission and the win. And post-match, the Giant chokeslams Hall, making a cover for a 3 count as well.
Covering all those bases.
You got to make sure when Eric Bischoff's around.
Yep.
I mean, this is how you run an angle.
It's one way.
I mean, people care about the Giant now more than they have ever, and you can tell. And Kevin Nash did the right thing. Took a submission from Lex Luger.
So we go to our 10th match. Hollywood Hogan with Ted DiBiase and Vincent versus Roddy Piper for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. The champion came out first. Foreshadowing.
I love that Piper walks out wet because, I don't know, I guess he got impatient and swam.
Came off the boat. Yep.
Hadn't taken a shower. He
Yeah.
was all sweaty, all dirty.
Would have been extra funny if there was like a little fish tail hanging out of his mouth.
I just think it's funny that he's been in Alcatraz for a week, and that facial hair is all he's grown in a week, and it's like less than what a 16-year-old could grow in a month.
He's Irish.
Hogan spits on the kilt, hoping to draw Roddy out to the floor, but the refs keeping Piper at bay, only to finally make his way out to take the fight to Hollywood in the aisleway. They return to the ring where Roddy is just throwing rights, lefts, low blows, choking Hogan with his t-shirt and biting his forehead. That sends Hollywood retreating to the floor. Piper stays on him with more chokes, running Hogan into the guardrail, steel steps, and even using a chair. And back in the ring, Hollywood goes low, but it just seems to make Roddy even madder, hooking the nose of Hogan and even biting it. Michael Wall Street then runs down, only to be punched down to the floor. Vincent jumps on the apron, and he gets punched down, which allows Hollywood to recover and hit a shot to the throat of Piper. Hogan misses a clothesline, allowing Roddy to poke the eyes and clap the ears, sending Hollywood rolling out to the floor, where he drags Piper out as well. Roddy with strikes before returning the fight to the ring, dropping Hogan on the top rope to crotch him, as we see Sting and Macho Man Randy Savage make their way out.
And a very Roddy Piper thing to do is after he drops Hogan nut first on the top rope, he grabs that rope and shakes it like he's the Ultimate Warrior.
Yep.
Just a little sassy, angry Roddy Piper.
We haven't seen Macho since Halloween Havoc 96, episode 225. And Savage starts heading to the ring, but the Stinger stops him momentarily, only for Macho to ignore him and continue on down to the ring.
Sting does an incredible thing where he just puts his hand out, doesn't even grab him or anything, just puts his hand out and gives like a slight look without even like moving his head. That just makes Sting even more intriguing. He's really doing a great job of doing almost nothing at all.
I'm telling you, the loud, crazy, wild, peroxide-colored haired Sting was fun, but
and
this version of Sting where he's just silent and calculated in his moves. This was the Sting that I think I'd always been waiting for.
I mean, yeah, this is huge, but in like, I love Peroxide Sting because he wrestles, and this is an incredible character, but he's not doing any wrestling.
No.
But he's intriguing.
But he's drawing people in.
Yeah, he's selling shirts. People are wearing makeup already.
Yeah.
Sting then leaves to the back as our competitors continue to trade strikes, when Hollywood would rake the eyes and back of Piper, sending him out to regroup. But Hogan follows out to ram Roddy back first into the ring post.
Posted.
And wrapping his leg around it as well. Back in the ring, more eye rakes and punches shared between the two, until Hollywood locks on a bear hug, taking Piper down to the mat and going for multiple pin attempts that all get 2 counts. Hogan gets up and he tries for an elbow drop, only for Roddy to avoid and fire up with a flurry of right hands. But another low blow allows Hollywood to go for a body slam, which Piper wiggles free to apply a sleeper in the middle of the ring. And Hogan is taken down to the mat, with the ref checking the arm once, twice, 3 times. And no!
What the fuck?
I know, I was losing it.
But
Damn it.
Savage had pulled Hollywood's legs underneath the ropes as Roddy celebrated, followed by the ref noticing and wondering if he had made a mistake. So Mark Curtis restarts the match as Macho puts some brass knuckles in Hogan's hand.
Takes him a while to get him. He's digging in that jacket.
Hollywood, with one punch, lands on top of Piper for the pin and the win.
And the bell rings again, and I'm confused and upset.
Post-match, Savage runs in to retrieve the foreign object before helping Hogan continue the beatdown on Roddy, spray painting him on the back.
And Savage is horrible with that spray paint, by the way.
Yeah, he just turns into a zebra.
Macho hits multiple flying elbow drops, Hollywood with multiple leg drops, followed by choking in the ring, before Savage and Hogan give high fives to each other and continue to celebrate as Tony says his goodbyes, and we head to credits.
Whack.
So I ask you, gentlemen, what are your overall thoughts of Super Brawl 7?
It's better than Sold Out, but I don't feel like anything is particularly must watch, with the exception of, are you interested in the key NWO members? Because if that's a story you'd like to see all of, like, these matches are necessary. And there's some great junior cruiserweight work earlier on the show, but I don't know that it's enough to work your way from beginning to end on this one.
Yeah, I mean, a similar vibe from me on that. I don't even know what to say about it.
It's not a hard watch.
No, it wasn't a hard watch. It was... There's too many matches. I mean, it's a 10 match show, and not all the matches were necessary, which is how it typically is on a 10 match show. But, you know, like you were saying, I was trying to think back through them of which ones would I consider must watch. And, you know, the one that I mostly liked was the ones that the fans chanted boring during.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Malenko and Syxx, and the fans were behind that, but because Syxx has been a shithead, and Malenko had a little bit more energy and emotion than, normally having ice water in his veins. But yeah, it's like Jericho and Eddie was so good, and the crowd did it no favors.
I think a lot of my feelings toward the show too is this was around the time back in 97 that my brain started going, all right, I think I'm over this now.
Yeah, you're already done with the NWO.
Yeah, the new had worn off, and I was already tired of the constant repetitiveness that they have with a lot of the matches. And
you know what? I think that the Giant and Lex Luger beating the Outsiders isn't enough to make up for the fucked up finish of the main event.
Yeah,
it's kind of like where it comes, where the way I feel about it.
Do you know?
And I know it's shocking Machos in the NWO, but in hindsight, it doesn't feel shocking. But I'm sure at this time, maybe it could have drawn people further into the story or drew people further into the story.
Yeah, because as soon as the tag belt match was over, I already knew that they weren't going to be able to keep them because of Bischoff, pulling some sort of a stupid rule or whatever. And then the ending of the Piper Hogan match, I won't lie.
Too many shenanigans.
Part of me really wanted to see Piper holding up that belt for just, even 5 minutes.
He could win it, he'd lose it the next night. We've seen it happen before.
Mm-hmm. Not a horrible show, but not one that I'd say, hey kids, watch this.
Oh yeah. You know what, it's not a go-to pay-per-view as far as recommendations.
I feel like I may have liked this show more than you guys. I mean, I do agree there are too many matches. That's the one negative on this show. But I had a lot of fun with it
I think that the end spoiled me so much that I was just like, because I don't think the show was a hard watch at all.
I mean, there's tons of storyline development, which didn't get into all of it because spoiler alert, we're watching the Nitro. That's right after this show.
Yeah, where we'll be able to illuminate more.
So some of the storyline stuff gets started. You see the ramifications of what happened on this show more on that. But literally none of the matches overstay its welcome.
I'll agree with that.
I think the longest match on the show is 12 minutes.
Yeah. It does, like I said, it's not a hard watch. It's very brisk.
It flies through. And even the matches that aren't the best, when I first saw, this triangle tag match I was just like, oh, geez.
It was 3 minutes long.
I had lots of fun with that match. I thought that match was super fun.
Yeah, I do. Well, it was fun because I was like, oh, I have immediately all right, hurry up, and then watching it flies by. It was entertaining.
I mean, the tag title match, it is the epitome of what a hot tag is.
No, it's great. I like that. I love that.
And it makes, yes, we all know that they're just going to do the exact same thing. They're going to do the exact same thing that they did to the Steiners last time that the Outsiders lost the belt. We know that. But also knowing what's going to happen a little bit, it's what kind of is the catalyst for what happens next. Is this. The main event, yes, I wish Macho was supposed to pull his leg earlier
yes.
under the ropes, so it would have made more sense.
Because I even rewound back to before the winning announcement,
and it was so obvious you didn't even need to rewind.
Yeah, it was okay, wait, no, his foot wasn't even close.
No.
You can see the shadow of the rope on the bottom of his foot.
Maybe that wouldn't have annoyed me as much if the timing was right, because at least I would have been able to see it. But we don't have a rewind clause in the WWF. This is the WCW.
Good. Where's the smart marks at? All right. Fuck you.
I think it's time we smark it up. So, what are some of the best moments of this show?
Honestly, Paul White drop kicking. I believe it was Kevin Nash out of the ring.
Yeah,
I popped
the drop kick and the power bomb. Or the jackknife.
Kevin doing the power bomb on the Giant.
Yeah, but the Giant doing the drop kick, it looks pretty good.
We will not see probably another good one of those.
No.
There's a
very
bad one that we'll see in the future. I mean, I know it seemed like a lot but the finish of the triangle tag match that is literally what a modern 6-man tag match
looks like. Yeah,
looks like.
No, I mean totally.
The finish, because everybody runs in and hits their shit basically for someone to end up no one's thinking should be there to win the match.
Yeah, it was well put together, and it was the most modern thing on this show. Like, it feels like it could be on television tomorrow.
I mean, we already mentioned it. Eddie and Chris felt like straight out of a Super J Cup, Best of Super Juniors.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I feel like they're shifting it a little bit to work more for a U.S. crowd, and they don't take to it.
I enjoyed the Sullivan Benoit woman Jackie match more
that
than
was
I
also
thought
fun.
I was going to.
Same, yeah. Everything on the show, Matt is kind of turning around. I think the end of the show just soured me on it so much, and I still don't feel like any of it is like required viewing. Is kind of the way I feel about it.
Absolutely, nothing is required, but I think it is just a fun show that is, you're wanting to throw something on in the background. You're gonna see some cool shit happen.
It didn't feel like a waste of time by any means.
No, definitely not.
No, it wasn't one of those where I sat there going, "Why the fuck are you making me watch this?"
Yeah, like I said, after Sold Out, those fucking
WCW.
sky's the
Really,
limit.
if it went down from Sold Out, then we'd have some issues.
Yeah, 83 weeks wouldn't have been 83 weeks.
No,
Definitely not. How about most disappointing moments? Savage not getting the leg pulled.
I mean, that's obviously number one.
The fuckery in the end of the match.
But also, I've thought this for many, many years. To me, it made no sense for Savage to join the NWO.
None at all. Doesn't feel right at all.
Because, I mean, other than Hogan just not wanting another person to be a challenger for him. That literally is what it feels like. Mm-hmm. Because Savage is literally just going to be pushed down into the U.S. belt contention. That's where Savage is going to get. That he'll never. I don't think he ever gets to the big belt again.
And like honestly, Savage like hiding in the shadows and being almost like Sting's loud lackey would have been really cool. Could have been a really cool dynamic.
I mean, literally thinking about it, like you have
and not lackey's not the correct
Sting,
word.
Savage, DDP, Lex, and Giant.
That's an awesome stable.
That's an awesome
face
top of the card on the WCW side. That's not even including any of the Horsemen.
That's a
because
War
Flair
Games team right there.
Because Flair's
Absolutely.
hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, NWO is still only 3 strong at this point. I mean, I guess they're now 4 strong with Savage. I feel like this was basically one, Hogan didn't want another challenger. Didn't ever want to face Savage again.
Well, and Savage knows that like
2,
Hogan won't give him the belt, so like, what's the fucking point? Might as well join them. If you can't beat him, join him. Legitimately, if you can't beat him, join him.
And it was obvious.
And 2, they realized that the B team's not working.
No. I mean, when your B team is Buff.
I mean, Buff is your most over.
And
when I say over, I mean like probably best performer of the B team.
Well, Syxx. Or you
Syxx,
see A.
Syxx is A team.
He's A.
He's
A2.
He's part of the clique.
Yeah.
When you've got Buff, Wall Street, and Scott Norton and Vincent as
Big Bubba.
Oh yeah, that's right, Bubba. Forgot about Bubba.
Yeah, it's tough.
But yeah, the Savage thing. I didn't like the fact that they had Savage and Hogan wearing matching gear, because it was just as soon as Savage and Sting walked out, I saw Savage's gear and went, "Oh, cool."
Oh, you knew he was going to turn.
Lightning bolts.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is when it happens.
Yeah, you knew he was going to turn as soon as he walked out with him.
Yep.
And you knew Sting wasn't, because we've all known enough about Sting.
And that's part of the magic of Macho for these last few years is he's somewhat unpredictable, and then when you walk out there and something that just clearly predictable,
I mean, the man
and it
loves
just
gear.
ruins
That's for
it.
sure.
Best performer of the night. I'm giving it to the Giant.
Hey, I was going to say the same thing. I was going to give it to Paul White. That's cool. I wasn't sure. I was like, figured you were going to pick one of the cruisers.
Hit a drop kick, took a power bomb, didn't rhyme.
He was over for the first time ever in a real way.
Yeah, I'm down with G-Man.
Yeah, he's not going to get it very often, so give it to him now. Chris Jericho and Eddie and Malenko, they all have their plenty of chances, as they always deliver.
And how about most surprising of the night?
That's hard to say, because nothing was very surprising on this show. I guess maybe Public Enemy winning, maybe. But when I knew that
see that.
when I knew that the Steiners weren't there, and that they're obviously being set up to be the number one contenders, it makes sense for them to be able to just waste Public Enemy on like a Nitro or something.
How about the Lucha match not sucking?
It didn't stink, no.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite style of match, but it was very good.
What was your least favorite match on this show? Is it the main event?
It's a toss-up between...
I mean, maybe the 3-man tag. I feel like Mongo and Jarrett was good story-wise. Like, I don't know. Like I said, I don't think there was any bad matches, like awful matches on the show in context of what they're trying to do.
It might be the Prince Iaukea match.
Yeah, I was kind of looking at that one.
That dude's just not ready to be in the spotlight.
Not ready for TV.
Not ready for pay-per-view.
Yeah.
But Ray's in there, doing the most of the work, so it's not like unwatchable or anything.
And they didn't chant boring, so
there is that.
That does help, yeah. It's a shame that the best technical match on the show got a boring chant.
Yeah.
And now for a look back even further into the history of wrestling.
The dusty finish.
Hulk Hogan had accepted the challenge and won the WWF Championship at WrestleMania 9. But Yokozuna would be a thorn in his side until they would meet again at the King of the Ring on June 13th, 1993. Yoko would use his size advantage early on, but after a missed corner splash, the Hulkster would counter with mounted punches and clotheslines. Hogan would even try to slam Zuna a couple of times, but just couldn't lift him, hurting his back in the process. Yokozuna would focus on the back with a bear hug and a belly-to-belly suplex, only for Hogan to begin to Hulk up. 3 big boots would finally knock Yoko down to the mat, followed by a leg drop, but Zuna kicks out. The Hulkster goes to hit another leg drop when a photographer has jumped on the apron to get a closer look, so Hogan questions what he's doing, when the camera would explode in Hogan's face, and Yokozuna would hit a throat chop and a leg drop for the pin to become the WWF champion for the second time. Yoko would face numerous challengers, such as Lex Luger and The Undertaker, until a rematch from the previous WrestleMania would become the focus.
What's funny is I could just see the Hogan back cell in my mind so clearly. Yeah.
The flop.
Yeah. The flop, and then when he stands up and he just, arches his chest out and his arms back.
Next week, I mentioned it a while ago that we were going to watch the Nitro the day after.
Yeah.
Let's just do it next week.
Absolutely.
So you're going to be looking for the WCW Monday Night Nitro from February 24th, 1997. And the music from this week's show is Urgent Memory. And Hogan won our main event, so we play Rock House by FCD Music. And if you like this episode, or any of our other ones, please go out there and rate and review us on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or wherever you find your podcast at. Do as Michael says.
5 stars or no stars. Why waste your time being a jerk?
It's true.
If you have any questions, comments, concerns.
What was your favorite match on this show? Who were you going for? What do you like in your mission style burritos? Any of these answers can be submitted to us. Slide into our DMs on Twitter. Give us a shout out. Sorry, I said Twitter. How old am I? Good lord.
It just happened.
On the X, Zed it to us, or however you pronounce that word. God, I hate the X. Why did they call it the X?
Everyone still calls it Twitter. It's fine.
But yeah, give us a shout out. Talk to us. Tell us what's going on. We love the interaction.
It keeps us going.
That's right.
But you send those things to our email at WrestlingHistoryX@gmail.com, or find us on X at WrestlingHistoX. That's Wrestling HISTO. X. We'll talk to you next week.
Laters. Fuck you, Terry.
New world order.